What's up, Patriots? I'm going to try and keep this video short, but pretty terrifying story today. Biden says the government will begin a door-to-door push for vaccination after failing to meet the 4th of July goal. Now, that was 70% vaccination, and as of right now, only 47% of adults in the United States, according to the CDC statistics, have been vaccinated. It may be higher than that, it may be lower than that. I don't know, you can never trust these people these days. But anyways, let's read the article before I react to it. President Joe Biden said that his administration would implement a door-to-door effort to encourage more Americans to get vaccinated after failing to meet his 4th of July goal. Biden made the announcement in a speech on Tuesday outlining how the government would move forward to improve the nationwide vaccination rate. Now we need to go community by community, neighborhood by neighborhood, and oftentimes door to door, literally knocking on doors to get help to the remaining people protected from the virus, said Biden. Look, equity, equality, oh boy, they love those buzzwords, but I don't think they actually know what they mean. It remains at the heart of our responsibility of ensuring the communities that have been hit hardest by the virus have the information and the access to get vaccinated, he continued. So as we shift from these centralized mass vaccination sites, the conversion centers from resistance, fall of man, we're doing thousands of people a day. We're going to access close to your home community, close to home, conveniently, and location you're already familiar with. So basically what they're saying is they're going to send people to go and vaccinate you at your homes or close to your homes, like within your neighborhood. And they're just going to stay there. They're just going to stay there until you choose to get vaccinated. The Biden administration failed to meet their goal in vaccinating at least 70% of the U.S. adults by the 4th of July after new vaccinations slowed as more states reopened their economies. About 47% of adults in the U.S. are fully vaccinated. Health officials say 70 to 90% vaccination rate is needed in order to fight the pandemic successfully, including the emerging variants. And the emerging variants, when you hear people talking about those, it's so BS. The furthest off strain, and I've seen this from like doctors who actually know what they're doing and doctors who are actually talking science and being ridiculed and censured to hell for it. They said the furthest off variant, this Delta variant that people are talking about, is only like 0.0003% different from the Alpha COVID strain. It's ridiculous. They're telling everybody about this Delta variant, the emerging variant, so that they can push all of these vaccine boosters later down the line. Okay, these vaccine boosters, but I'll talk about that later. One targeted community by community, door to door outreach to get remaining Americans vaccinated by ensuring they have the information they need on how both safe and accessible the vaccine is. It's not safe and accessible. On the CDC's own website, it says that 4,000 people have already died from complications from the vaccine. Now, of course, they do everything in their power to hide that page. I don't have a screenshot or anything of it, and I don't remember how to access it, but it's up there. There are videos out there on the internet explaining how you can get to that page. It does exist. You just have to dig a little bit. It's on the CDC's website, and it says that 4,000 people have died from complications to the vaccine already. Now, of course, the number's probably higher because it's the CDC and, skewed information to push fear mongering. But if that number is already there, and I just want to say real quick that the number where they would cap a vaccine, where they would shut down access to it for anything else, they would shut down access to a vaccine if 29, I think, or more people die. It's like somewhere within the range of 29 to 40 people. If that range of people die from complications to a vaccine, they will literally shut down access to the vaccine worldwide until they can study it more. And most vaccines take at least 9 years to study and approve through trials and everything before they can be approved for even just human testing. And then it takes an average of around 15 years in order for them to be cleared for full public use. And I also want to state some interesting things right now about the vaccine, which are did you know that if you die from the vaccine, uh, and like you can prove that, or somebody can prove that you died from the vaccine, and you're insured against like dying from a vaccine, well, guess what? Your insurance won't pay out anything for that death because they don't know. They're like no insurance companies that cover taking experimental vaccines, and that's what this thing is right now. And then another thing that another really good piece of logic that somebody shared with me over the Discord is if Big Pharma found the cure for cancer, do you think they would give it to everybody free? Nope, not a chance. And then there's this massive worldwide push for vaccines to the point where they're doing this. This is literally like Gestapo stuff. Um, and in India, there are rural communities that are refusing to take the vaccine. And what the Indian authorities have started doing there is like you have to wear a sign on you that says you're not vaccinated and that you're a threat to everyone. And everybody who has been vaccinated in that region gets to wear like a star that says like I'm safe, I'm vaccinated. This is Gestapo level stuff. Well, let's keep reading. White House Press Secretary Dodgeball reiterated that the door-to-door plan during Tuesday's media briefing. Uh, one targeted community one targeted community by community door-to-door push to get remaining Americans vaccinated by ensuring blah blah blah. Some critics of Biden. Okay, so that was by Dodgeball, Jen Paskey. We call her Dodgeball. Some critics of Biden responded by comparing the door-to-door effort to the terror campaign against Jews under the Nazi regime in Germany. Not only is this utterly ridiculous, it's totally unconstitutional and 100% Nazi Germany, responded Pastor Greg Locke. Sending Joe Biden's Gestapo door to door to check on non vaccinated Americans is really a recipe for disaster, tweeted Laverne Spicer, or a Florida Republican congressional candidate. And she's right. I mean, literally, people have been talking for years on the right about, oh, when the government shows up to your door, oh, this and that, oh, when the government comes, like, oh, we'll shoot them up then. Uh, yeah, well, they're starting. And do you think this is just, oh, we're here to give you a friendly reminder about getting the vaccine? No. Okay. If you give them a negative reaction, if you can't prove that you're vaccinated, guess what? You're going down on a list. Like what happened in Nazi Germany. Locating the victims. This is up on the Holocaust Encyclopedia. The Germans and their collaborators used paper records and local knowledge to identify Jews to round up or to identify Jews to be rounded up or killed. Records include those created by Jewish communities of their members, parish records of Protestant and Catholic churches, government tax records, and police records, including registries of Jews compiled by local collaborating police. Now, if they could do this back then and kill a bunch of Jews without ever actually having to go door to door and write down people who react negatively to the question or people who say, no, I haven't been vaccinated, this was what they did in the 1940s. Okay? And this took them some time because they had to go through paper records and all a bunch of records. You know what you can do with the internet now and the electronics we have now? You know how easy this would be to figure out who's not vaccinated with modern technology, and then they can just send people to your door, Biden's Gestapo, say, oh, You're not reacting well to the question. Okay, have a nice day, sir. Close the door. Write their name and address down on a list. Hey, I'm X and X and X and X. I'm just here to give you a friendly reminder about taking the vaccine. And you haven't been vaccinated yet. Okay, have a good day. Close the door. Write down X and X name and X address. Walk to the next person's house. Oh, hello. Oh, so you have been vaccinated. Oh, your kids haven't. When do you plan to get them vaccinated? Oh, you don't plan to get them vaccinated. You don't think it's safe for them. Okay, have a nice day. Close the door. Write down the name of the homeowner, the address, and then write down. Oh, their kids haven't been vaccinated. And then where do you think this goes? Okay, we all saw the headlines. Maybe October of last year that came out of New York when New York wanted to create vaccination camps or camps for people who are dangerous or like basically people who anybody else complains about not taking the vaccine. And then the government would relocate them to these camps and then like force them to get vaccines basically. We all saw those headlines. Of course, New York was uh, they didn't have the balls to go through on it yet, but they tried pushing that through. Thankfully, it was shot down. But this is pure Nazi level stuff, okay? Everybody needs to get on top of this because if they're allowed to do this, it's not simply going to be knocking on people's doors and saying, "Oh, okay, have you gotten the vaccine? No. Okay. We'll just go back and we won't say anything." No, they're taking your information down, they're figuring out who you are, and they are going to make life hell on you until you get this thing, or you're going to go down on a list for when they inevitably get more tyrannical and do something even worse. Honestly, I cannot see this ending peacefully. Like like Miss Spicer said, this is a recipe for disaster. Okay? You're going to get a lot of people who, since this has been propagated as this is the day we start fighting back when the government knocks on your door, and with everything that's been proven about the vaccines, that they are dangerous, and all of the doctors and nurses who have been silenced, okay, who have been silenced, who tried to speak out about the vaccine and how dangerous it is, there's going to be bloodshed if this goes through. And it'll only escalate. It won't get better. It's not like this is the solution. This is literally to round up people who do not comply. This is to figure out who's not complying. Like I said, they've hit a wall in the United States. 53% of Americans in the United States, at least adults, are not fully vaccinated. And they can't get that number higher. Everybody who's been vaccinated is probably the people who are going to be vaccinated. And everybody else who hasn't been vaccinated, well, they're probably either going to hold off for a while until more statistics come out about the vaccine. And let's be honest, it's only a downhill slope from here. Everybody's seen the nice and the flowery and the media pandering statistics that say, oh, it's safe. But now, more and more, you're starting to see the stories of people having allergic reactions to the vaccine. Men 30 and under have heart swelling from or heart inflammation from the vaccine. Kids are getting sick because of the vaccine. Women are miscarrying because of the vaccine. Of course, the media will say, "Oh, it's just that all this happens after receiving the vaccine. There's no correlation." But yeah, it's like within 2 weeks of getting the vaccine. Go. This isn't safe. I don't exactly know what this vaccine crap is for, but it's not good. And they are trying to force it down everyone's throat on a worldwide scale. This has never happened before. It's not safe. They know that. And they're doing it anyways. And they're being absolute tyrants about it. And now they've escalated it to this level. I'm going to say right here and now that this could kick off like serious, serious political violence. And I'm not talking like some people throw bricks into the Capitol building. No, I'm talking like people in the streets shooting at each other. This is a recipe for disaster. And I'm going to go on record saying right now that I hope nobody gets hurt. I hope there's not an exchange of gunfire. I hope there's not violence. I hope there's not bloodshed. Because God help us when that starts. But this could very well trigger that. Because people, the 53% who haven't gotten the vaccine yet, are either hesitant to get it, and this is not going to sway them. This is going to be interpreted as government tyranny, which is what it is. Or for the people who are even more radicalized, for the people who have determined that this stuff is terrible, that there is an agenda behind it that we don't fully understand yet, they're going to interpret this for what it is, which is government tyranny. And when they interpret that as government tyranny, they're not just going to be like, oh, yeah, please take down my name, address, and everything that goes along with all of that and put me on a list. No, they're going to get violent. They're going to get confrontational. And with the milquetoast leftists who work in the government now, they'll probably get confrontational back because they're nut jobs. This is what everybody should be worried about right now. This is bad, bad, bad news. And of course, then there's the vaccine boosters that everybody's been talking about. Oh, you need vaccine boosters, a third dose, to keep you going against the virus, is what Pfizer and Moderna say now. And they're already making those third doses. Well, what's in those third doses? They can put anything in those third doses because they don't have to disclose the ingredients or the chemicals in them to the public. I know they have, or at least they have put up a list, might not be a truthful list, but technically under the law they don't have to disclose that information. Now, of course, then there's the fact that all of this violates HIPPO laws, like seriously violates HIPPO laws, and also the Nuremberg Code as well. But that's a video for another day. Basically, I think the gist of this video, and I'm going to cap it right here, is that they are not allowed to do this by the law. There are laws against doing this. They are pushing this vaccine harder than anything I've ever seen them push, maybe with the exception of critical race theory. But if it's being pushed at that level, you know it can't be good. There is an agenda behind this. It's not being done out of the kindness and the graciousness of their hearts. So everybody, if you have gotten your vaccine, well, make sure you don't get a booster. And if you haven't gotten a vaccine yet, I wouldn't. Because this is some shady stuff. Shady, shady stuff. Nazi level stuff. So, Patriots, stay armed and stay safe for as long as you can. But should it come down to it, be prepared to fight. That's all I'll say.